Welcome to Fracture Reality, where we delve into the mysteries that blur the line between history and myth. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into one of the most enduring enigmas of all time, the Ark of the Covenant. Was it a conduit for divine power, a technological marvel of the ancient world, or simply a legendary artifact lost to the sands of time? The story of the Ark begins in the book of Exodus. According to the Bible, God instructed Moses to construct the Ark to house the 10 Commandments after the Israelites' exodus from Egypt. This sacred chest, built to precise specifications, became a symbol of God's presence and covenant with His chosen people. We have speakers Caleb and Eva to enhance the experience.
All right, let's dive into one of history's biggest mysteries. You ready for this?
Always up for a good mystery. What are we tackling today?
The Ark of the Covenant.
Oh, wow, that's a big one. The Ark. So much fascination and speculation around that.
Yeah, exactly. We were really inspired by that episode on the Fractured Reality channel.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. The Ark of the Covenant. Divine technology or myth. It really got me thinking.
Same here. I mean, is it a historical artifact or some supernatural power source?
Right. Lost forever or just waiting to be rediscovered?
I've got so many questions about this thing. Where do we even begin?
Well, the best starting point is always with the origins.
Okay, so back to the Bible then, right?
Exactly. The book of Exodus lays it out pretty clearly. God instructed the Israelites to build the ark to specifically hold the 10 Commandments.
So it wasn't just some random ornate container. It had a specific purpose.
Oh, absolutely. Divinely designed and purpose-built. And the Bible gets super specific about how it was constructed, too.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Acacia wood, pleated inside and out with pure gold.
Wow, pure gold sounds pretty fancy.
Oh, yeah. And those dimensions, get this, approximately 44 inches long, 26 inches wide, and 26 inches high.
Oh, that's bigger than I imagined.
Right. Think about the craftsmanship involved in putting something like that together back then.
It must have been something else. But what about that mercy seat thing, the one with the 2 golden cherubim on top?
Ah, yes. The mercy seat, sometimes called the propitiatory cover, basically the lid of the ark. The cherubim, they were positioned facing each other with wings outstretched, almost like they were guarding whatever was inside.
I always pictured them like that, standing guard. But it wasn't just about looks, right? Didn't God actually communicate with Moses through the mercy seat?
That's right. The Bible says that God appeared in a cloud above the mercy seat, and that's how he spoke to Moses.
So the ark, it was a conduit, a direct line to the divine. That is just wild. And they didn't just keep it tucked away somewhere, did they?
No, not at all. It played a central role in their journey out of Egypt and their travels through the wilderness. The Israelites would literally carry it with them, often leading the way.
That's like a mobile command center. But I guess that's where all those stories of the ark's power come in, right?
Exactly. Parting the Jordan River, helping conquer Jericho. Those are the stories that really grab people's attention.
Makes you wonder, though, if it was some kind of guaranteed victory charm. Because didn't the Israelites also lose some battles even when they were carrying the ark?
You're picking up on a really important point there. It wasn't a magic talisman. Its power, it seemed to be more about the Israelites' obedience to God rather than just its presence on the battlefield. One example that comes to mind is the Battle of Ai.
Ai, what happened there?
Well, despite having the ark with them, they were defeated. The reason? Because someone in their ranks had disobeyed God's commands. It's a pretty powerful story.
It's a reminder that it's not just about having the object, it's about living up to the principles.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And it kind of feeds into this whole debate about the nature of the ark's power. Was God literally present inside the ark?
Or was it more of a symbolic representation of his power?
Exactly. Theologians and scholars have been debating this for centuries. Some folks look at stories like the death of Uzzah when he touched the ark, and they interpret it very literally.
That always makes me think, could there have been some other explanation? Like, what if there was actually some sort of energy associated with the ark that might have caused his death? I mean, is it possible?
That's a very interesting question, and it kind of segues into another theory about the ark, the idea that maybe it was some form of advanced technology. But before we go down that rabbit hole, there's that other big mystery we have to address first.
You're talking about the fact that at some point in history, the Ark just vanished. Poof.
Gone. No one knows for sure what happened to it. It's not mentioned in any historical records after a certain point, so where did it go?
And what are the most popular theories?
Well, the last time the Ark is mentioned, historically speaking at least, it was in Solomon's temple in Jerusalem.
Solomon's temple. Got it. And then
Nothing. It's like it just disappeared. No record of the Babylonians taking it when they sacked the city in 587 BC.
you think they would have documented something like that, though, right?
Hmm.
I mean, if they looted it, it seems like a pretty big deal to just leave out.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? And even when the temple was rebuilt later on, there's no mention of the Ark. It's just gone.
It's like it vanished into thin air. So, naturally, people have come up with some theories to explain what happened.
Oh, there are theories galore. Some of them pretty wild, too. One theory claims the Ark ended up in Ethiopia. Another one puts it in Ireland.
Ethiopia, Ireland.
Yeah.
Those are some pretty far-out locations. What are those theories based on?
All right, so the Ethiopian theory, it goes like this. Menelik I, supposedly the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, brought the Ark to Ethiopia. And legend has it that it's been kept safe all this time in the Church of Our Lady, Mary of Zion in Axum, guarded by monks who never leave the chapel.
Wow, talk about a dedicated security detail. But is there any actual evidence to back that up? Any historical records, artifacts, anything like that?
Not really. It's mostly based on oral traditions and legends. And the Irish theory, well, that one's even more tenuous. It connects the Ark to this mythical group called the Tuatha De Danann, said to have brought all sorts of powerful artifacts to Ireland. Some people believe they stashed the Ark at the Hill of Tara, a place with a ton of ancient Irish lore attached to it.
So, lots of intrigue, but not a lot of concrete evidence for either of those theories.
Yeah, that about sums it up. A lot of speculation, but not a whole lot to go on. But there is one theory that's a little bit different because it's actually based on a real artifact. The Copper Scroll.
The Copper Scroll, I've heard of that. Wasn't it found with the Dead Sea Scroll?
Yep, that's the one. And it's unique because, unlike the other Dead Sea Scrolls, which were written on parchment or papyrus, the Copper Scroll is etched onto thin sheets of copper. And what's etched on those sheets is a list of 64 different locations.
Okay, 64 locations. Locations of what?
Locations where all sorts of treasures are supposedly hidden. Gold, silver, temple artifacts, and some researchers, well, they believe those cryptic instructions, those 64 locations, might lead to the Ark itself.
Whoa, hold on. So we're talking about a real-life treasure map here. A treasure map that could lead to the Ark of the Covenant. Has anyone actually tried to decipher this thing and follow its clues?
Actually, there's this guy, Jim Barfield, a former fire investigator, who's devoted years of his life to cracking the code of the Copper Scroll. He thinks it points to the Qumran region, which is, where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls in the first place.
So back to the Ark's old stomping grounds. Not Ethiopia or Ireland. Makes sense. But how does he do it? I mean, how do you even begin to decipher a code that old?
Well, Barfield's approach is really fascinating. He takes those descriptions from the Copper Scroll and he cross-references them with actual geographical features using things like satellite imagery, even metal detectors, to try to pinpoint the spots where those treasures might be buried.
Metal detectors? That's cool. Did he actually find anything?
Well, there's this incredible moment captured on film. Barfield's at one of the sites he thinks matches up with the Copper Scroll. He's using his metal detector, and suddenly the thing goes off the charts.
Oh, wow. That's got to be an adrenaline rush right there. So did he find the Ark then?
Now, hold your horses. It's an amazing discovery, no doubt, but it hasn't been officially confirmed. No excavation has taken place. Barfield's convinced he's onto something huge, but we need more than just a metal detector going crazy to say definitively that the Ark has been found.
So the mystery lives on. But even if we never actually find the physical Ark, the questions it raises, the debates it sparks, those are fascinating in themselves. Faith, history, human ingenuity, it all gets wrapped up in this one object.
Absolutely. But there's another layer to this puzzle, a layer that takes us into some really interesting territory. What if the Ark wasn't just a symbolic chest, but an actual device? A device that harnessed some kind of energy?
Okay, now we're talking. That brings us back to Uzzah and the question of whether there might be a scientific explanation for the Ark's power. What kind of energy are we even talking about here?
Well, let's take a look at how the Ark was constructed. Those specific dimensions, the gold plating, it all kind of reminds you of a capacitor.
A capacitor, like the things that store electrical energy.
Precisely.
So you're saying that those dimensions, the 44 inches by 26 inches, they weren't just random. They were specifically chosen to create a giant capacitor.
That's the theory. And it might sound crazy at first, but if you think about it, a capacitor is basically two conductive plates separated by an insulator. So the gold plating of the ark, that could have acted as the plates, and the acacia wood, that could have been the insulator. It's not completely out there.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But if it were a capacitor, what would it be used for? What would its purpose be?
Now that's where we get into even more speculative territory. Some theorists believe the ark wasn't just a container, but a sophisticated piece of technology capable of generating some sort of energy field.
So maybe those stories about its power in the Bible, maybe those weren't just metaphors or exaggerations. What if those were actual descriptions of technology that the people at the time just didn't have the words to explain?
It's a thought-provoking idea, isn't it? The parting of the Jordan River, the fall of Jericho, maybe those events were actually the result of some kind of energy discharge from the ark.
Kind of like a superpowered ancient weapon. I can't help but think of those scenes in science fiction movies where they fire up some crazy energy beam, except this would be thousands of years ago.
It definitely captures the imagination. And the people who support this theory, they often point to the shape of the ark, particularly the cherubim with their outstretched wings, as possible points for energy transmission. They even draw parallels with modern-day devices like Tesla coils, those things that generate those amazing high-voltage electrical discharges.
I can almost picture it. Sparks flying from those cherubim. But if they had technology like that back then, wouldn't archaeologists have found something?
Yeah.
Some kind of evidence, like ancient batteries or circuits or something.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges for this theory. It relies a lot on reinterpreting ancient accounts through a modern lens. And so far, there's no physical evidence to support the idea that the ark was this kind of technological device. But even without concrete proof, the idea that it might have been something more than just a chest is incredibly intriguing.
For sure, it makes you wonder. But if we haven't found any physical evidence of the ark being this advanced technology, how do we explain those biblical accounts of its power?
Well, some people believe that maybe those descriptions in the Bible are metaphorical, representing a kind of power that wasn't necessarily technological, but maybe something more spiritual or symbolic. Perhaps the ark's real power lay in its significance, its ability to inspire and unite the Israelites. It was a symbol of their covenant with God.
So where does that leave us? I mean, was the ark's power literal? Technological even? Or was it more symbolic, like a representation of their connection to something bigger than themselves? It's amazing to me how one object can spark so much debate.
It really is. The enduring power of mystery, right? I mean, whether it was an actual object or just a symbol, the Ark of the Covenant, it continues to capture our imaginations.
It makes you think, what if we were to find the ark today? What would it tell us? Would it confirm everything we thought we knew? Or would it completely challenge our understanding of the past?
That's the big question, isn't it? Imagine the implications if we discovered this ancient artifact with technology so advanced, so beyond its time, it would rewrite history.
Right. I mean, it would revolutionize our understanding of, well, everything. But what if we found it and it was just an ornate chest, no crazy technology? Would that take away from its significance?
I don't think so. I mean, even without the technological marvels, the Ark still holds so much power, symbolically speaking. It represents that covenant between God and his people. It's a concept that you see across so many cultures and religions.
It's that idea of faith, hope, the search for something greater than ourselves. It's a reminder that even if we never actually find the Ark, the story itself can still inspire us.
And in a way, the search for the Ark of the Covenant, it mirrors our own search for meaning and purpose, doesn't it? Whether it's a quest for knowledge or a deeper connection to something spiritual or just trying to understand our place in the universe, the journey itself, that's what's important. Maybe even more important than the destination.
It's incredible how this one object, this ark, can bring up so many big questions about faith, history, and really about what it means to be human. It's been an incredible journey exploring all this with you.
The pleasure was all mine. It's always exciting to dive into these mysteries and just see where they take us.
So what happened to the Ark? Is it out there somewhere, waiting to be found? And what does its story tell us about our own search for the sacred, for the unknown? Those are some questions for you to ponder. Until next time, keep on exploring.